So I guess I choked up whenever I said that, and I'll cut this out of the video. Alright, before we get started, a little bit about myself. I started out flying RC helis probably 7 years ago, and since then I went into some planes and back to RC helis, and I had a little sabbatical for a while, and now I'm into FPV multi-rotors. And the first one that I got was this ZMR 250. Now, I bought it in a kit, and I assembled it. The kit was like $110, I believe. And it come with the motors, speed controllers. It come with a CC3D board, but I immediately replaced it with an ACE32. It had no FPV system whatsoever in it. And it also came with some 50-45 props, which this is what I started flying with. And these did okay, but I quickly progressed, coming from flying a collective pitch helicopter background, and I wanted more. So I upgraded to the DAL 50-45 bullnose, put them on, and it did a little bit better with those. And then I bought me some Cobra 2204 2300 kV motors and put on here. Alright, but the motors that came with this are a Kenson brand 2204 2300 kVs, and I have to say that these motors did really well. They surprised me whenever I moved up to the Cobras and how close they actually were. Now, by no means do they stack up to the Cobra, but they really do have a good performance factor in comparison with them, being as cheap as they are and kind of I don't believe a well-known brand. But back to what we making the video about is this baby here, the ZMR X210. Now, I purchased this frame about 3 weeks ago, and I have to say I really like this frame. I've got the Cobra 2204 2300 kV motors, some Dow 50-45 props. Actually, they're Dow mold. They're actually not Dow props. I do have some Dows to put on there though, but these work just as well. Just a run-of-the-mill cheap FPV antenna. I've got the Luminaire CM650 camera, Maze 32 Rev 6B, Luminaire 600 milliwatt transmitter in there, XT60s, and we're running Little B 20 amp ESCs. I direct soldered, so I cut the plastic off and reheat shrink them myself, as most people do, what it seems. Anyway, I really like this frame. It flies a good bit better than its brother, the ZMR 250. It is also a good bit smaller. I don't know if you can see this right here. I'm kind of filming this on a whim, but as you can see, it's a little bit smaller, hence the 40mm difference in the frame size. It handles better, and it is faster, of course. Here we go. Let's see if I get that lined up. That's pretty good there. A little size comparison for you, and it is an X quad. Now, set this over to the side. A lot of people say it is kind of a replica clone of the QAVR racer. I believe it pretty dang close myself from what I've seen. I don't own one. I'm just a poor boy, so I got to fly what I brung. But this quadcopter to me does really well. I've gotten pretty decent at it. Feel like I progressed fairly quickly. I took about 7 years off from flying helis, so when I got back, there was a little bit of a learning curve for me. with the learning curve I had coming from collective pitch helis, I have had quite a few crashes with these two quads, the ZMR 250 and this X210. Only thing I've really broken is a couple of FPV cameras. I've messed up a few antennas and some props. So definitely anybody getting into the hobby, the main thing you're going to want to buy is props, extras, spares, and lots of them. I probably bought 15 sets of these when I first started, and I've still got about 10 sets left, so I wasn't a beginner, but I did go through a few of them. Mainly one prop at a time, mostly, whenever I'd crash. A couple times I ruined a couple, but mainly it would just mess up one prop and I'd have to replace one and check my other ones and go on about my business. As far as durability goes, this frame right here, I have to say, is really durable. I'm running it with the dual bottom plates, as I'm not an FPV racer. I like to race. Maybe one day I will get invited to a race somewhere, somehow. But until then, I'm running the double bottom plates for extra strength, and it's probably a good thing because I have had one pretty bad crash with this so far. In that crash, I did not break anything on this frame. I did mess up one prop, and my video transmitter blew out the back, come loose, and I lost video feed. But I got it down, strapped my video transmitter back in, changed the propeller, and I was right back up flying. So this is a very durable frame. I purchased this kit from FPVMODEL.com, and in the kit it came with a Maytech power distribution board. Now, I'm not going to say anything bad about a Maytech power distribution board, but it just was not for me. The first times that I was trying to take this thing up for a flight, I had very bad interference in my FPV feed, to the point where I couldn't get 50 yards away and it was cutting in and out and black lines everywhere. And instead of just putting a linear filter in here and having the extra wires and the extra little bit of weight of that, I went ahead and purchased a Addis Power Distribution Board Pro. It already has the filters built into the board, and put this on here, and my problems were solved. So I'm not going to say anything bad about the Maytech. It just was not my cup of tea, required too much effort for me to have to get it flying. While we got it out here, we'll pull some measurements real fast, because I haven't seen a lot of people pulling them on the internet, but I don't know if y'all can see this. You have got, I'm showing 3.7, but these are probably 4. This is a little cheap measuring device I got here. Let's try over here. Yeah, there we go. I didn't have it all the way on there. 3.9. So really thick arms. Your plates, 2 millimeters on your two bottom plates. And let's see, I'm getting 1.5 millimeters on the top plate. So as you've seen from the crash, I hit pretty hard. I didn't mess anything up. So even with what it's got, it is a very durable quad. Now, you may notice that these 50-45 props barely clear the frame. I mean, you're not talking no more than 1.5, 2 millimeters of clearance on the actual risers to hold up the top plate. So they're right there. When you build this, do not let any wires hang out whatsoever. They will get caught, and something bad will happen. And we all know what happens when bad things happen. You wind up replacing parts. Now, when I purchased the ZMR 250, I purchased it from Buddy RC. I will post a link in the description to that website. And when I got it, I purchased these Glacier 30C 1800 milliamp batteries. And I've been flying these for probably 60 to 70 cycles now, and these have been a really great battery. Now, I've also purchased some Nanotech 1800 milliamp 65C batteries. These are great batteries as well. Probably a little slightly better than the Glaciers, but performance wise, I mean, once you get out and go to doing punch outs and flips and the likes with my quad, it's a noticeable difference, but not enough to just make a tipping point where you got to have one or the other. I cycle through them all together whenever I'm out flying. There's no discrimination whatsoever, so it doesn't really make a difference to me. But after all, I'm not the greatest pilot, so probably not the greatest one to be making a comparison on them. I'm not going to do a review on batteries. Don't have the equipment set up, nor care to review these batteries right now. As far as flying equipment, I'm flying with the Fat Shark Dominator V3s. Great goggles. Everybody knows about them. That's what I run for my FPV. And for a transmitter, since I'm a poor boy, the same transmitter I had for my helis. Now this thing is probably 8 years old, and it works like a charm. It is a Spectrum DX6i, as you can see. All I did for a receiver in my mini quad was I just got a Spectrum satellite receiver, bound it up, put it in, and it works beautifully. Alright, I've never had a problem out of this radio. Would I love to have a free sky radio? Yes, but a poor boy like me don't have the funds for it, so I gotta fly what I brung, and this is what I brung. I would recommend either one of these quads for any beginner. ZMR 210 or ZMR 250, just whatever you fancy. The ZMR 250 I believe is H style quad, and here we have an X style quad. These are the popular ones at the moment. You never know what's going to come next. So to sum it up, this is a great quad. It's well worth the investment. For 52 bucks, you can't go wrong, and it's going to be up to you what you put on it and run on it. Thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe, and this is Toxic Red. See you later.